All right, first let's go in the terminal and generate a new component using Angular CLI. So ng gc like. Beautiful. Now let's go to like.html. So here we want to have a heart icon. For that, I'm going to add a span with two classes. One is glyph icon and the other is glyph icon dash heart. Okay. Now we should also add a class dynamically that would change the color of this icon to pink if the icon is active. So for that, I'm going to use class binding. Class.highlighted, and I want to bind this to isActive field of this component. Next, I'm going to handle the click event here and bind this to onClick method. Okay, so here's our icon. Now next to that, we want to have a span where we display the total number of likes. So likes count. Okay, now we need to apply some CSS here. So let's go to like.css. Here we need to apply a couple of styles to the glyph icon class. So I want to change the default color to CCC, which is gray, and the cursor to pointer. Now we also need a custom class here, highlighted. And here we're going to set the color to deep pink. That's all CSS we need here. Now finally, let's go to like.ts. I'm going to simplify the selector to like, or if you're building a reusable component library, we can add a prefix here. But for this exercise, we don't need this. Next, I'm going to simplify this code. We don't need implements on init, so delete. And we don't need the constructor and ng on init method either. Instead, we need a couple of input properties. So input, I'm going to call the first one likes count, which is a number. And as a best practice, I'm going to apply an alias here, likes count. Now the second input property is going to be isActive. So isActive, which is a Boolean. Now finally, we need the onClick method. First, we need to update the number of likes. So we can set this.likes count to, if this icon is active, so if this that is active is true, we want to decrease this by 1. So I add plus here and -1 here. Otherwise, we want to increment likes count by 1. You did a similar exercise in the section about TypeScript, okay? So finally, we need to toggle the isActive field. So this that is active equals not this that is active. That's all we had to write. It was really easy, wasn't it? So finally, let's go to app.component.ts. Here I'm going to create a tweet object. Set the body to whatever. We don't really need it for this exercise. Now here we need a couple more properties. One is likes count. Let's set this to 10. And is liked, which determines if the current user has liked this tweet. So let's set this to true. And finally, let's go to app.html. Here we add our like component and use property binding to set likes count. We're going to bind this to tweet.likes count. And finally, is active. We're going to bind this to tweet.isLiked. So note that here the property names are different, and this is deliberate because I didn't want to have a property here called isLiked. It's kind of strange to have like and then isLiked here. In the context of the like component, it would make more sense to call this property isActive. But this is purely my personal preference. If you prefer a different name, that's totally fine. So let's test the result. So back in the browser, so you can see our icon is initially active and the total number of likes is 10. If I click it, now we have 9 likes and the icon is inactive.